If you start looking for a job the day you leave Berklee, you're probably behind. A lot of it just has to do with the things that you did while you were here, and mostly less in terms of, in some ways, just the things you've done in the classroom, but more in terms of the people you've met, the teachers you've built relationships with, the staff members you've built relationships with.
How is ultimately, and does Red Bull ultimately look back and say, Steve, we're giving you $20 to invest in music and we're expecting to get $40 back? I mean, does it make decisions that way, or is there another sort of measurement that the brand looks for with respect to what success is with respect to your particular initiatives?
A lot of it's just about building incredible stories with people. And I think that's really what we see is super valuable, because it's, again, it's why we exist. I mean, I think the reason the company has grown in the way that it has grown is from living by that Gives You Wings mission, getting into spaces, supporting people, and ultimately we find that to be something that's successful in the business as a whole over time. And I think music is very much that same way. So there are certain things that we look at to see how well things are doing, but it's more measured against mission than it's measured against, a lot of the more granular things.
Yeah.
And I think that, especially in something like music, you've got to have a serious long-term commitment to things, and you've got to allow things to grow as they grow.
Do you feel that because you're a musician, you're able to approach situations, say, in a different way than somebody who has a traditional business background or an economics background?
When you're working in any job, you're kind of performing whatever it is you're doing. I mean, you're always selling something, you're always in front of people, you're always talking to people. And I mean, even just the basic kind of stage mechanics of being a musician, and knowing how to go into, in my case, a meeting room and be able to talk to people in a way that you're actually communicating. It's the same thing you're doing if you're on stage playing a song. Traditionally, when you look at marketing, or at least over the last couple of years, the way a lot of companies approach it is by having a digital division or a digital person or a digital strategy. In one person's opinion, that's not the way to do it. Digital needs to be everything. I mean, you guys know this better than me because you're 10 years younger than I am, but digital is everything you do. You don't use social, you are social. Those types of platforms aren't just things that you tap into certain times, it's things that you're using all the time and things that are just a part of your daily life. And I think that a marketing campaign to be successful, or a marketing program, or even a company, needs to be very similar, where those need to be things that are considered in every decision that's made, and ultimately it needs to act as a backbone of everything versus one little work stream off to the side. So that's really the way that we look at it. So of course, we do all the easy stuff like leveraging social networks and building communities in those types of places. But a lot of what we do is try to leverage, data and those types of things too, that we can measure an offline activity that we have and understand what its impact was digitally and those types of things, because it helps us to get smarter.